always knew from a young age that I was going to be running multiple businesses. I was almost unemployable. You've got to work bounce back ability. You're going to fail. Things are going to go wrong. We are the best in the UK. We source the best materials, we've got the best installers. We're not the cheapest, but we're the best. Start walking, stop talking. Procrastination, I hate it. I like doing all different aspects. And the reason why I like doing all different aspects is because then I can really understand the algorithms. I love lead generation, but I love lead generation because I love, a lot of affiliates don't like speaking to people.
Hi guys, today we're joined by my business partner and very good friend, James Dooley. This podcast will be a slight difference. It's part of an interview series. So what we're going to do is obviously have the main man himself. A lot of you know him in the industry, very top-notch guy. I'm not going to blow his trumpet too much, but basically we're going to go into him as a person, him throughout his business life, his whole career, his ups and downs, and kind of just dig into the nitty-gritty of it all. So without further ado, can we get started? And would you like to start by sharing, Dooley, your journey and, what inspired you to kind of start your own business? How did it all begin?
Yeah, so I always knew from a young age that I was going to be running multiple businesses. I was almost unemployable, so to speak, where I knew that I was always creative and always forward thinking and wanting to do more things. I was that kid that never wanted to sit down. I always wanted to be doing the next thing and stuff like that. That comes with its pros and cons within business. Some of the cons being that I get bad shiny object syndrome and FOMO and stuff like that. I always think there's something better out there. So sometimes I need people around me to kind of rein me back in slightly. But that's kind of where a lot of it started from being, I had a business and then I realised that I needed inquiries. And this is how I got into SEO, just because I needed it for my own website and my own business. And then one thing just led to another from there and everything just kept snowballing. When I started to realise I could generate leads, and I started to realise from a very, very young age, when I had the business, that every business needs a consistent flow of inquiries. Word of mouth is just not enough anymore. And you need to make certain that you're getting this influx of new inquiries that's coming in. And then once you've got that, you don't need to be the cheapest to win the work. If you're responding fast and your response times and stuff like that's good, obviously then you can start winning more work. So that's how I got generally into SEO, needing it myself.
So what would you say were the biggest challenges you faced in the early stages of your business when you sort of got into SEO? What were your biggest challenges? How did you overcome them?
I think it's the same with unless you've inherited a load of money from your parents, which I haven't, and I know that you haven't neither, right? The biggest issue is always cash flow. Where are you going to get best bang for your buck? And I think the people that come from nothing are the most frugal in business and they invest wisely. And it's one of them where they say rich parents make weak kids. I didn't come from a rich background. I had to work hard at it. And when you start working hard at it, you then start to appreciate the money that you've earned and you don't waste it. So I'd say the biggest, when I first started out, my biggest issue was cash flow. And what I kind of started to understand from listening to a lot of other people, I needed, let's say, lots of content, a well-built website, and then lots of links. But if I couldn't afford scaling content and I couldn't afford scaling links, it was what was going to get me trying to find the long tail keywords and going after those and try and build up from there. But I'd say cash flow initially was my biggest worry and my biggest concern.
It's an interesting one, that, because obviously cash flow is key, fundamental to pretty much all businesses, right? And then you've also got the added thing of most business owners don't want to spend the money unless they can almost guarantee an ROI or some form of ROI.
Yeah.
So you were kind of very much in that, just the same old sort of business owner mindset until you started getting more and more into the SEO side. Is that right? That's
exactly right, yeah.
So then could you describe, obviously just moving on to, you've got into SEO, could you describe a significant failure? I'm aware of one in more recent dates, but a significant failure back then or setback that you experienced, but obviously you've learned from and grew from it. But could you describe one that sort of stands out?
Do you know what? Like, life is a roller coaster in all walks of life, not just in SEO, but in SEO specifically where things are changing. Like I always say, growth is never linear. It's always ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. So along the journey, there's been hundreds of big failures, big failures in there. But it's how quick you bounce back. And I think this is the best answer I can give is you've got to work on your bounce back ability. You're going to fail. Things are going to go wrong. And because of that, that's why I've got now a large testing team because I want to make certain I'm always breaking the boundaries and then trying to make certain I'm understanding that failing's good. Like I've said this on one or two other podcasts, like in the office now, when we fail on something, we all high five each other because now we can improve our systems and processes. And I think when you have that mentality that you embrace failure, you can grow so much more. And I think it's very important for people to understand that.
So almost like not getting hung up on the failure and just move forward, right? How
Yeah,
do I fix it so it doesn't occur next time?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So then within your business in the industry, I know you're in bloody loads of industries, but let's talk about, say, the main business, right? So the soft services business. How do you differentiate your business from the competitors within your industry?
So I know this is an easy thing to say now I've got money, but you've got to be the best. Like we source the best products. Like we make certain that we do a great job because then when we go and do a good job for, let's say, a school, a college, or a university, and we go and install a playground or a tennis court or a sports pitch, they're going to come back and use you again. And I think too many people try to cut corners and they try to scale, let's say, black hat techniques, or they try and do things and try and cut corners, and they don't provide enough value for the customers. Where actually, if you genuinely want to be the best or the biggest, generally speaking, you've got to be good because that return, I'm all about, like within SEO, I'm all about monthly recurring revenue. I want people coming back to me. So for people to come back to me, I've got to be good at what I do. And I don't want to keep chasing new clients because it's expensive to keep getting new clients. If you can keep existing clients happy and they're coming back to you, that's the best way of doing it. So generally speaking, like heart on my sleeve, we are the best in the UK. Like we've sourced the best materials, we've got the best installers. We're not the cheapest, but we're the best. And because we're the best, a lot just keep coming back to us now. And I think people used to want to cut corners like schools and get a cheaper price. I always say, you buy cheap, you buy twice. And we fixed so many jobs and we've got so many case studies showing jobs where we've had to rip up a job that's only been installed for 12 months. We've had to rip up and completely redo it. And it's not really scaremongering the clients, but it's making them aware that, look, the cheapest price isn't always the best value. And I think that's why we've managed, that's grown now from initially 15 years ago, it used to do about 500,000 a year. Now we do 9.5 million a year. So it's nearly £800,000 a month.
I was
So
going to
it's,
say what's really interesting with that is in the industry you're in, and I know very well that a lot of people set up and they usually close down the business within the year and they've set up another name, whereas you guys have kind of consistently just stuck with the same name and kind of kept growing.
yeah.
What would you say then? Obviously, you've just experienced a 800% growth. What would you say is like the pivotal moment or turning point that all of a sudden there was an explosion of growth?
Do you know what? Like, a lot of people ask me this question, and honestly, it's about consistency and being persistent. There's no like you go and then that's it, boom, and then it flatlines. Like it is. Now, don't get me wrong. It is a lot. It is like a hockey stick where it's exponential growth. Here's a saying for you, right? Majority of people massively overestimate what can be done in 12 months, but they underestimate what can be done in 5 years. And people start off and they're thinking 12 months' time they're going to be, right, okay, in 12 months I'm going to be where I want to be. You won't. You'll probably be on the hockey stick where you're not really thinking that you're growing. You're here, and then literally year 2, year 3, year 4, that's when you start seeing some growth. Year 5 is like, that's when you start seeing exponential growth. But it's about being consistent. Like, you can't just start going to the gym for 2, 3 months and think you're going to get a six pack. It's about consistently turning up. Yeah, yeah. But it's about that consistency of turning up and making certain that you eat well and making certain that you turn your life into habits, and those habits need to become daily habits that you keep doing. And it's about training and having this culture within the team and the business to understand that we are the best and we don't want to be going in too cheap. And consistently, every time we do a good job, asking clients for case studies, asking for testimonials which can add to our case studies, keep shouting and screaming about what the stuff we do and how we do it right. And then in time, people just start buying into those habits of what you have. They enjoy that, like our lead response time is brilliant, our quotes, everything's just very efficient in the way that we run. And all that took time, all that took a lot of failures along the way for what we should be doing. But consistency and being persistent, then we'll start getting you the growth.
So this is like the last question on this sort of section. And I think I already know the answer to it, and I know you very, very well. You know, I've been friends for like 10, 12 years or something. But how do you stay ahead within the industry? How do you stay ahead of like industry trends and keep your business innovative? I think I already know the answer to this, but I'll let you answer it.
I'll let you answer this if you want to.
I'll answer what I think you'll say, because I think it's brilliant. And a lot of the way you kind of do it is you're always speaking to the customer, and you're always like actually speaking to them from a business point of view and finding out where they make the most profit. And then you're developing more and more of your business around them to help them push further. But that, in effect, also helps you grow your business even further as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a numbers man, so I'm always about average transactional value, lifetime value, my CPAs, and return on investment, like ROAS, return on ad spend, and stuff like that. So I'm a businessman first. I just leverage SEO as part of what I do. But you nickname me, and everyone calls me now Woodpecker. So I understand.
Glad a nickname stuck for you. You know what I mean? That's what I'm glad that stuck.
I realize I love being busy and I love networking and speaking to people. So my role within a lot of the businesses now that I'm part of is I don't get involved in the day to day. I normally employ someone who's like a CEO or operations manager, and they'll run the team. I'll speak to them all and try and help them out in any way that I can. And I do what I love, which is innovating, learning new things, trying to absorb all the information from clients that maybe some of the team can't get out of them. Traditional like keyword research, in my opinion, is shocking. Like just speak to the customer and they'll tell you what they want. So for me, being me and wanting to get around looking at innovative new SEO ideas, what's working in today's algorithms, but then with regards to clients and stuff, I love that part. So I want to be doing it. I'm Woodpecker. Until I find out what that is, I'm just going to carry on going and going and going. And I've got that drive to have it. And I've now rubbed off on one or two key members of staff, like, you know, Scott very well. Scott now has got that same kind of, he's speaking to clients and he won't let it go until he gets the information. He won't let it go. I'd say that's the biggest kind of way of us innovating, is just consistently wanting, every day is a school day, and consistently wanting to improve.
So being an entrepreneur, and within obviously having multiple businesses like you do, how do you approach like the leadership and team management point of view? How do you build and maintain a strong team? You know, how are you doing that process?
So in general, like Mads has helped me out along the way. Obviously, working a lot with yourself, you're very, very good with systems and processes and setting things up. I think the biggest kind of the eye-opening moment for me was I used to want to create a perfect SOP and then get a member of staff to follow that SOP. Like literally, step number 1, do this. Step number 2, do this. Step number 3, do that. And then I remember Mads being sat there in a mastermind, and Matt Diggity being in a mastermind with me, and this says, don't assign tasks, assign responsibility. And when I heard that, it was like a light bulb moment, like, wow, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm trying to create the system and the process. I shouldn't. I should give them the end goal, and then the members of staff
do the rest.
Create the SOP. And it's an ever evolving SOP and process that can be improved and systemized and be done in better ways. So, and that then started to evolve in all walks of life. Like my business partners, how can they evolve without telling them what to do? Let them think for themselves. And it's almost like the book Think and Grow Rich. Thinking's the hardest thing that you can do. But when you start to think and think of innovative ways, and you can bounce off each other, and you don't almost like lock members of staff in a cage, you let them run wild and run free. That's when they're most creative. And that's kind of what I built the culture within the team, is that they're always coming up with ideas. We high five when we fail, which then means that they're not scared of saying things or not scared of trying new tasks. Because if something doesn't work, what does annoy me is if we do something and we fail, and then we fail at it again, and then we fail at it a third time. No, we should learn from our failures. But if it's a first time failure, high five, well done, we found something that doesn't work. And when you give them that flexibility and freedom, it allows them people to evolve as well. And what I have got around me is a team of awesome people. I've got a team of awesome business partners, awesome staff, awesome, just like everyone. I'm nothing without any of them. My team is everything. Like people say your network is your net worth and all that. And I love going networking and stuff. But without my team and my business partners, I'll be on the streets.
Well, I know you're very much like a hire fast but fire fast type guy as well. If they're not a good fit for the culture, you do kind of just get rid. And now what actually has happened is you've got a team that you've probably had, it must be since I've known you, pretty much 10
Yeah,
years or something. Like
13, 14 years. Yeah.
consistent. So this one's an interesting one. I think you'll laugh at this one. So how do you go about handling conflict, disagreements with teams, business partners, things like this? How do you go about that?
Do you know what, mate? Like, and I think you'll know this yourself. I thrive on confrontation, right? Because the truth of the matter is, what happens is I tend to have lots and lots of little bickers and lots of little arguments and debates. Then what happens is, and I see this so many times, people are scared of having that confrontation or having that bicker. Or if I disagree with something that you do, I'll just tell you. Like I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I say it. And if you don't like that, don't go into business with me. But what I will never, ever, ever do is go and bitch behind your back or go and like moan behind your back. I'll just say it to your face, right? And what it does is it keeps that transparency and openness about, I don't think this is working well enough. But what it does is it doesn't allow things to build up and build up and build up for someone to build up and then they just explode. I hate the people that talk behind your back, where for me, to your face, I'll call you an absolute idiot and everything that there is. But behind your back, I've got your back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would never let anyone talk bad about you. Like, you're an unbelievable business partner. And I'm saying this live and air now. Like, you are an unbelievable business partner. Yeah. But you are an unbelievable business partner. But obviously, of course, we've got disagreements because you might want to go in that direction and I might want to go in that direction. Both of them are going in the right direction, but I might be able to get there faster, or I might want to not cut corners, or there might be just different ways we do things. I might want UK staff. You might say, no, let's go South Africa or Philippines. There's lots of different methods and reasons why. And sometimes you've just got to understand that these little debates, actually, if you can thrive off them, they're actually good at times. Like it can be the fuel that allows you to want to improve and drive and go forward.
I've got two little stories just to back up this little thing here. So first time ever meeting Dooley, go in, and it was like, if you've seen The Dragon's Den, it's like that. When he hones in on you, that interview process, it's like, dear God, I'm getting grilled. You're starting sweating, like he's asking you so many questions, right? And I seen this, after you've known him for a while, you get used to that. It's like, oh, here we go. He's got the Dooley woodpecker going. And then we had an incident where we had one guy, and I swear to God, he was getting so irate in this like mastermind. It's like, dude, just chillax. He's just inquiring about your business, but he's just going deeper. He started shouting and everything. And then another example of this and premise of this is, if you've ever done a carpool with Dooley, with Scott, bless him, when they start getting into this confrontation part and like they don't agree, oh my God, the back and forth, it can be like 45 minutes of back and forth together until they get to some form of agreement. And you're like, how can you do this for 45 minutes?
Do you know what though, right? And Scott now agrees with me. Like, it's only on the debates where you learn something. If you just sit back and go, all right, okay, if you believe that and I believe that, we'll go our different
Yeah,
ways. No, like let's dig a bit deeper. Why do you think that?
yeah,
Like, and sometimes you learn, like, and trust me, I'm absolutely fine with not being correct. A majority of the time I'm right, but no, but I like legitimately, if I sometimes the next morning I'll get up and Scott might have told me 5 or 6 things, and I'll get up and I'll go, do you know what, mate? I agree with what you're saying. I understand it now and I agree with you. And sometimes Scott does the same with me. And it's like you learn things from it that you just go, oh, I never thought of it that.
I
Do you know
think
what? I never thought of it that way.
the hard part is it's in the heat of the moment. Obviously, it's like defense system, isn't it? You like fight
Yeah.
or flight. That's it. No, I'm sticking to this belief. But then later on, you kind of start thinking about it a bit more, and then maybe it's the next day you're like, you know what? Actually, I'm wrong here. I
Yeah.
can't stick to me guns on this one. I'm wrong, completely wrong. And like it's quite good though, because almost like it's a really good trait to have, because a lot of people wouldn't adopt that, especially in like the SEO where SEOs and develop. I often chuck them in the same sort of category. You know, they're very stubborn.
Yeah.
There's a stubborn trait in them, and if they know one way or have even got previous evidence of that way working, it kind of solidifies that belief, right? So that is the only way to do it. But the reality is there isn't. There's a lot of ways to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so interesting seeing the growth of the people around you as well is like amazing. Like seeing them, obviously a lot of them were frigging just fresh out of college, weren't they, when they first started, and now they're all
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
all
all
grown up.
directors. They've all got loads of digital assets. They're both like, yeah, literally every single one of them when they first started was apprentices, straight from school or college. And the reason for that is
Wait,
that,
wait. Except for Scott.
yes, that's Scott.
Don't you said every one of them except for Scott.
Yeah,
Don't do that. That
was,
was a big
yeah,
disagreement.
yeah. No, but Scott was initially downstairs and he's moved. Everyone in the SEO department who started out in SEO was every single one. And the reason why we did that is because there's a classic saying: you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And sometimes, at first, another big pain point when I was in SEO was employing the right people. And what I started to realize was a lot of these people, like you just said, they had a strategy and it worked, and they did a second strategy and it worked, but it might still not have been the exact strategy. Like you could have done really bad content back then in the day and just built lots of links and you drank. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that your content was good. Do you know what I mean? Or it converted and it wasn't good for CRO and sales copy. But because they built more links, so like it works. I'm like, yeah, but you're missing the point. Like, I want good quality content and good quality links, and I want it to be able to convert. Like, yes, I'm asking for a lot, but I want us to be the best. And to be the
Yeah.
best, you need to be the best at technical, content, topical authority, backlinks, the right type of backlinks, doing the foundational links, and long term, not worried that you're going to get it in the next algorithm update.
So, last sort of question of this section would be, although you've kind of, I think you've already hit a lot of them, if I'm being honest, but we may as well list them because obviously we can do some little shorts with it. What qualities do you believe are essential to be a successful entrepreneur or business owner?
So, to be a successful business owner or entrepreneur, you can't be stubborn, which we spoke about them before. You cannot be stubborn. You've got to be open that if you're wrong, you say, I'm wrong. You've got to be able to embrace failure. Failing is good. You've got to push the boundaries and want to fail. That's the biggest thing because too many SEOs don't push the boundaries enough. They live in the comfort zone. And you show me any billionaire that lived his life in his comfort zone. They just
And
don't.
most of them have went bankrupt, right? I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure most billionaires have been bankrupt sometimes multiple
And then
times.
bounce back even
Yeah.
stronger and bigger. So you've got to be able to push those boundaries. You've got to realize that you can't do it all yourself. So you've got to learn to let go. And then I always talk about the 3 Ps. Do not suffer from perfectionism when probably 60, 70% is good enough.
Yeah.
Procrastination is the worst one for me. People who come and see me and then 2 years later they come back and start telling me the same thing that they said they was going to do 2 years ago, and they've not done one thing to move forward on it. They just keep talking and not walking. Start walking, stop talking. Procrastination, I hate it. It's my number one pain point that I hate. Stop procrastinating. And then another big one that I see a lot of successful business get wrong is prioritization. Get that prioritization right. What's giving you the best bang for your buck and double down on that. Stop getting shiny object syndrome like I suffer from. But now I've got a great team around me to not allow that to happen. I can keep coming up with innovative ideas, but a lot of them might get squashed by operations or testing team and stuff like that. So I can keep throwing the ideas in. Ideation's fine, but then let it come out of whether it works or it doesn't. So do not suffer from perfectionism. Prioritization needs to be bang on, and then procrastination.
Awesome. Right, moving on to sort of your market in the industry. So I think I know where you're going to go with this one as well. But let's say, what changes have happened recently within the industries, and what are you like most excited about right now?
So, do you know what? I like being involved in all different ways of, let's say, e-commerce, SEO, affiliate marketing, lead generation. I like doing all different aspects, and the reason why I like doing all different aspects is because then I can really understand the algorithms. Now, e-commerce and local is very different to affiliate, even more so, more than ever now. Affiliate has been absolutely battered and bruised for the last 18 months. Like, in my honest opinion, I think they've been too harsh on affiliate, right? But
Right.
on the flip side, I do feel that Google had a massive problem that everyone was just writing reviews and content, not even using the products or services, and they were just putting it. Number one was the one that paid the highest commission. Number two, the second highest commission. It was a big problem. So they seem to move now to more like forums like Reddit and Quora, or if you've got your own forum on your own site, they're absolutely flying. You type in anything to do with forum kind of websites, and every one of them is just like boom, 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 boom. So user generated content is where they've kind of moved towards. They don't just want one author saying how great these 10 products are. They want to try and get different contributors to come back saying, I prefer this because of that. So we're in all walks of life. I love lead generation, but I love lead generation because I love, like, a lot of affiliates don't like speaking to people. So they like building out a website and being able to earn money when they sleep by selling products online, and you never need to speak to the supplier, like Amazon affiliate and stuff like that. I actually get a kick out of speaking to these business owners. Like, I'm transforming people's lives. I know it sounds a bit arrogant, like, but these people are coming to me really desperate for work. They're growing from 2 vans to 20 vans on the road, some of them. And now they've grown from like 1 million to 6 million in revenue. They've now got 50 extra staff or 100 extra staff. They're very profitable. I get invited on the Christmas dues every year. They love it. So I enjoy, but I think the reason why we are good at what we do is because we are quality in what we do. We try and make certain they always get a return on investment. And we speak their lingo. We speak to a business owner or an entrepreneur about how can you make more money? And that's the first thing. It's not how can I make more money? I know for me to make more money, I need to get them making more money. And that's what a lot of people don't understand in SEO. They're obsessed with semantics, internal links, speed. They're not really looking at, if it was for lead generation, how am I going to get them to make more money? What is the converting keywords? How, within conversion rate optimization, is the sales copy going to get them to be like, I want to use them, even prior to the inquiry coming over? It could be like more reviews, more testimonials, more case studies, getting the branding being set up correctly online. So they're being seen everywhere. Like, holistically, you're doing everything right. So it's a bad answer really, because you asked me what one thing. I like doing everything, and then I
Yeah.
like having different people and different divisions to be like, they just focus on rank and rents. They just focus on affiliate. Because then they live and breathe it every day and they understand what's going on.
So if you were someone coming into the industry brand new, what advice would you give them?
If they're brand new, I'd go and get a job and work in an agency, if I'm being honest. Like, it's gonna take you 2-3 years of understanding everything of what you need to be doing within SEO, maybe even longer. So I'd go and do, like, and I know this will blow people's mind when they first get started, but you have to go and like follow people like Kyle Roof initially for quantitative kind of SEO measures, like Page Optimizer Pro, placing certain words on the page. If you wanted to go one step further and be the best on-page SEO person that there is, you need to go and do Corey's course. it is an absolute minefield. And understanding, you need to start understanding linguistics, and you need to start understanding properly how semantic content networks work. A lot of it goes above my head. Like Scott's got an English degree, and he loves and thrives, I think, because he understands all linguistics and how it all pulls together and works. But for me, I just want to do enough to win. But if you're entering in big markets, you need to do Core A's kind of on-page course. If you want to understand the best ways of doing things like backlinks, is speaking someone to like yourself, jumping on an ODYS mentorship call. But I won't really go speaking to you, no disrespects, about semantic SEO, even though you've done Core A's course. But like, you'd want to speak to Corey, Carl Roof, or even someone like Scott. But for you, who lives and breathes backlinks, that sees the data every single day of what's working and what's not working, whether a guest post is better than a link insert, whether you need to be doing PBMs or whether the risk tolerance is too high, whether you need to be doing tiered link building, whether you need to be indexing your citations and your press releases and whatever else might need to be done. You're brilliant at segmenting what's needed from a backlink profile, saying, no, don't waste money here, spend it here, and getting best bang for your buck. Hence the reason why you successfully ranked 46 different casino sites. Like, anyone, I'd always say this, anyone can almost, not saying fluke rankings once, but like, they might go and get certain backlinks from a digital PR campaign, which massively inflate their rankings and do really well. To do it 46 different times is not a fluke. You strategically know what is needed.
Mm. So how would you, obviously we're going to take a little deep dive here into like your personal life, because I know you very well. I know obviously your family and all this. So how do you balance the demands of, obviously you a successful entrepreneur? How do you balance the demands of the businesses with your personal life? Have you struggled with that over the years, or?
I did at first, because like shiny object syndrome, FOMO, I did too many things and I was being pulled from pillar to post. And I started to realize, why am I doing this? Like, why am I spending so long with people that I don't really like? So I then started to understand that when I'm choosing a business partner, sometimes it's not always choosing the ones that technically are unbelievable. It could be, can I work with this person? Do I like this person? Can I have a drink with this person? Not that you need to be an alcoholic, but like,
it does help. It does help being as business partner and a raging alcoholic.
But can I go on holiday with this person? Because I know that if I don't see you for a couple of months and we go, let's go have a weekend together, I'm going to enjoy it. Because if I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm probably going to start making excuses not to go for that weekend and catch up with what's working and what's not with staff and systems and processes and whatever else. So choosing your partners correctly is key, in the fact that, do they share the same like ambition? Are they as ambitious as you are? Are they fun to be around? So, and then not only that, is if they are fun to be around, they end up becoming your best mates. Like, me and you go on holiday together quite a lot outside of work. I've just came up to Newcastle the other week and we all went out with your pals from up in Newcastle. You're coming down to Manchester at Christmas. We're all going to have a big night out. And like, away from work, you're actually friends anyway. So then if we are going doing something, we need to go away, because it's tough. Like, and it sounds daft, this, and some people might not see this, but if I go away for 2 weeks to Chiang Mai, to the conference, right, which is an unbelievable conference, it's tiring because you get pulled from pillar to post doing masterminds, but I miss home. Of course I miss home. I miss my family. I miss my mum. I miss my two brothers. I miss my wife. I miss my kids. Of course I do, because I love it at home. So I need to be in Chiang Mai with some people that I at least like and I can have a good time with and think, oh, well, this is good. So like when Scott comes and you come, at least I'm with some friends. You know what I mean? And I think that's important. And I feel like I do more of a work-life integration as opposed to a work-life balance. Like, you come now, you've got my mum on WhatsApp. Oh, even if I'm not there, oh, I'm coming down for breakfast. And my mum loves you. She treats you as like a son-in-law. And like, that's what it's about. It's about enjoying the journey. And I want to be around people that understand it's not the final destination. It's the journey to get there, which is the fun part. And my wife and my kids all know you and Charlotte really well. And when Charlotte coming around with the Anastasia talks about. So it's brilliant. And I think it's important to have work-life integration where your family and your friends and stuff like that, work becomes family and friends. Like all the people, I will do anything for any one of the people that work in my office. Do you know what I mean? Some of the VAs I don't really speak to that much, but all the middle management and all the CEOs, the COOs, the CFOs, all these people within who I work with and my business partners, I treat like my brothers and my sisters.
And I think that kind of reflects in your business partners back to you as well. Obviously, the same. Obviously, from my perspective, I know it's literally almost, you were up there to be a groomsman at the wedding type thing. It's kind of like that closer partnership now, where it's like you're almost like a best friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it also helps. It just makes it a lot easier when it comes to business decisions because you know what the other person will say.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it a bit easier from that perspective as well.
Not only that though as well. So let's say like if you came to me as a friend and said, James, I don't really want to do that because I want to have a bit more time like with friends and with family, and I don't really want to push it to get to £300,000 a month. £200,000 a month is fine of where I'm at, and I'd be like, I get it. Like we don't want stress. We don't not want stress in our life. So I'd sooner have a comfortable 200 grand a month than push for 300, and it becomes stressful and stuff like that. But like you start to understand a little bit more. Like, what's your ambitions? Okay, you want a house with stables and stuff like that. Okay, how can we work to that? Well, we've got a 3-year goal to get there, right? Okay, well, this is what we're going to have to do. This is how we're going to have to achieve it. And then if I don't feel you're pulling your weight, I can say, I don't think you're saying you want these goals, but you're not working to those goals.
Steps, yeah.
And you can have those nice conversations as a friend, and friends can debate. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what happens. And you're trying to do things to elevate each other and help each other because you genuinely want the other person to reach what their goals are of whatever it might be.
So what sort of daily habits and routines would you say you've implemented to help you stay like this productive and this focused? What does your typical day look like?
So for me, one of the biggest ones, which I didn't realize for a long time, was when I eat. So if I have breakfast or something, when I eat, after I've eaten, I become quite sluggish. Yeah. So I now do intermittent fasting. So we normally get up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I might go out for a brisk walk. Then I'll normally pick Scott up about 5:45. We'll go straight into the office and then we'll smash like 6 hours worth of like flow state work. I'm most like in my zone in the morning. I smash everything out, all my emails, all messages, all my tasks that I need to do that day, everything out in the morning. So I'm done and pretty much burnt out by 12:30, like midday. And then at that point, we might then go to the gym. We do a workout. And then after that, then we'll have like high protein type lunch after we've been to the gym. And then at that point, then I've eaten, I've been to the gym, I've done everything I needed to do. I've got a free day then. So from 2 o'clock onwards, I pretty much do what I want. So normally, generally speaking, I'll go home and it's like my kiddie time, my wife time. So we'll come home, we'll go out on a bike ride, we'll go to the park. I don't like my kids being inside. I just want them going out getting fresh air. So I just want them being out every day. So even when it's raining, I always say to the wife, there's no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate clothing. Right? So if it's raining, we'll just put a jacket on. It's fine. It's good.
I can imagine everyone from around the world right now. We're thinking, it's British weather. It's wet. It's probably 5 degrees.
Yeah. Well, they've got a jumper and a jacket.
It's kids walk around like that, like little puffy. Yeah. They've got like big puffy jackets, waterproof like that. This is brilliant.
But yeah, I'm all for getting them outside, getting them in the fresh air, picking up mud and playing in the field and playing on a park and just going out with their friends. They're only young, but sometimes they'll go to the park and one or two of their friends will be there. And I want them socialising from a young age and stuff like that. I just don't want them being sat on a computer or on an iPad. And I see too many kids being technophobes and they can't hold a conversation and they're like 6 years old and they're like, you should be able to speak to me. Like, you're 6 years old and they're not able to because they're too much on the computers and stuff.
I think that's primarily because of a generational point of view as well. So like my grandma, obviously I'm slightly younger than Dooley, although he likes to think he's 23. I am probably like nearly 10 years younger than him. My grandma was like very much like, we used to love playing on the computer games and things like this, but she was like, it's a nice day outside. Get outside. Turn off the power at the plug. She'd kick you outside. You'd have to go play football or something.
Yeah.
But like that kind of then instills in you. There's a time to sit at the computer, but there's also a time when you should be out and socialising. And maybe that's something that is getting a bit lost. I
Yeah.
see so many, not I'm not saying bad parents or anything, but I see so many parents where they just kind of give the kids an iPad and then the kid is literally watching YouTube for 12 hours straight like that. Although I don't disagree that they will grow eventually, I think it's just causing problems down the line, which is obviously the whole, lack of wanting to communicate with people.
Exactly that. Yeah.
So it's just a really interesting, and obviously as a business partner to Julia, well, I also very much know anything beyond, if it's 3 o'clock, well, half two, 3 o'clock, don't message Dooley because I don't want to distract him from his kids. And he
Yeah.
tends, and it's kind of that level of respect where I know 3 o'clock, I'll just wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I also know.
Sometimes I'll catch up, like, so after the kids have gone to bed, I might do like 7 till 9 at night. Like, it depends on, like, sometimes it could be just normally WhatsApps, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Oh, have you seen this video? Oh, have you seen it? Like, and normally it's more not doing the work, but like trying to learn something new or whatever, or catching up on certain bits. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm burnt out by then anyway. So if you want something efficient from me, but you're a morning bird as well. Like, you're up early and you smash loads of work out in the morning as well. So
So
it
my
kind of works well.
my only slight tweak to yours, because I've noticed my problem is once I've started work, I really struggle to switch off my head. So I have to go to the gym first thing because then the gym's obviously priority for me is my health. So the gym's done, it's ticked off. Now I can focus on work and I can probably go quite a long time doing that.
Yeah,
However, you're quite good at sort of segmenting it. Once you've almost right, I'm burnt out now. I'm going to go to the gym. I
yeah,
can't do that because what ends up happening is I'm on my phone at the gym and it just becomes a crap workout. Like my head's not in gym, if that makes sense.
yeah.
It's in work when I do struggle with that, to be fair. But yeah, the segmentation part that you have is definitely a skill that I am working on because I would quite like, although the gym's really empty at that time in the morning, if I'm being honest, so it's good for me. But I'd like to be able to segment it more.
Yeah.
So just last couple of questions, really. So obviously, future of your business. Are there any like projects or expansions that you're excited about? And then also, how are you measuring that success and what goals are you working towards to achieve it?
So I am fascinated via AI, and the implementation of AI. I think
Which
it's
is actually surprising because we haven't mentioned that till 45 minutes into this interview. I thought it would have came up a bit sooner, but it's took a while to get there.
I'm fascinated with AI and the implementation of AI. I feel like if I'm not fascinated by it, my competition can catch me up.
Yeah.
So I've got to be embracing it in some way, shape, or form. We do a lot with like league segmentation. We do a lot with, let's say, writing content, extracting semantic triples. Now doing some things to do with like indexation and stuff like that. There's so many different things that how you can be using it in different walks of life. Sometimes when even someone's talking to me and I don't really understand what that term means, just quickly like asking ChatGPT to come back with a summary of what they mean by that. I'm like, oh, right, okay, I didn't really understand the full ins and outs of it. So it's like I've got someone there who's a technical genius right at the side of me to ask as a mentor whatever question that you want. And I think it's brilliant. So
I've actually got an interesting one on that. This just happened recently with a very good friend of mine. We're out for a restaurant, nice meal, and we started talking about methylation, which is the body's process of changing the fuel source in your body. So, for example, breaking down vitamins and then using them in their actual form. But he was like, I need an easier to understand example for that. So literally, we type into ChatGPT, please define methylation as if you're talking to a 5-year-old, and then it would come out with a full story. And he was like, "Oh, that's why I love AI."
yeah. No, it is class for stuff like that. So, with regards to the future, I'm never ever going to be able to retire. I've had some bad stories, bad experiences with some good friends, RIP for a few of them, where they have been unbelievable dads, friends, just generally very, very happy people that have worked all their life and been very, very successful. And literally within 18 months of them retiring, one had cancer, but I'm not saying it's because he retired that he got cancer, but like so he worked all of his life and thought he was going to like enjoy retirement and didn't, because obviously 18 months later had cancer. One just completely took to the drink, became an alcoholic, and had no drive and motivation, where his work and thing was his motivation, and he didn't realize that. From being a very, very healthy, like ultra marathon runner and all the rest of it, ended up within, I think it was just under 2 years, ended up killing himself. And he had beautiful kids, beautiful wife, and everything. It's like, wow. So retirement for me is just, I mean, for some people it might be great. For me, I will always be involved in something mentally to keep me going. And I think that's very important, especially for someone like the way I am.
Yeah.
And then I just want to see people happy and successful around me. Like, I thrive. Sometimes I'm one of them kind of people that I don't like receiving a birthday present or a Christmas present. I like giving a Christmas present and seeing somebody else being happy opening that Christmas present. So when I see things evolve and something from an ideation 2 years ago come, and the fruition of it is now, it's like, wow, this is now, we've built the market leading brand for indexing. Oh my God, we built the market leading brand for whatever it is. I'm buzzing off it. And I'm buzzing not just for me, but I'm buzzing off the team that have managed to do that. And they're going to get heavily rewarded for doing it, so that now they can be mortgage free. Now they can go on more holidays and they can experience better things in life. That for me is my biggest kicker. And I just want to keep trying to do things that can better people's lives all around, not just for myself. Like, if I could retire tomorrow, and I don't mean it in an arrogant way, and I could give my kids that they don't need to work a day in their life. But one of my biggest concerns at present is, because I actually have some money, is making certain I don't bring up spoiled kids. Yeah. So I'm trying to do everything I can not to bring up spoiled kids. I don't want to hand them everything on a plate. I'm going to be so tough on my kids. It's unbelievable that they've got to earn their own money. I'm not giving them a single penny. I'll help elevate them and progress their career and knowledge and stuff like that. But they're going to have to earn every single penny. They're not being gifted anything from me.
So if you could, this is like the last question, because obviously I know we've taken up quite a bit of time. Yeah, it was meant to be 20 minutes, but Dooley loves to talk. You know what I mean? If you could go back in time, this is quite an interesting one. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice for, Dooley 10 years ago, 15 years ago, probably 20 years ago, when starting your business, what would it be?
Not to meet someone called Karl.
Avoid him like the plague.
When Karl messages to come to have a mastermind at your office, ignore. No, the one bit of advice would be to go harder and faster. Like, I thought I went hard and I thought I went fast, and I did go harder and faster than everyone else I've seen around me, but it was still nowhere near fast enough. Like, the stuff we do now is like 50 times faster than what we did. Fail fast and fail hard and then go again. And like, too many people, the biggest one is too many people. And I never really suffered from it. And I always knew from a young age, because I had one or two good business mentors in my life from a young age that I seen who was successful. And they used to always tell me, I hate the people who are going to do this and they're going to do that and they're going to do this. And they never get involved in a gunner, because they're never going to do it. So like, I always had that in my head, like, not to procrastinate, don't procrastinate. But I still could have gone a lot harder and a lot faster. But then again, like, I've had a very happy life. I've done a lot of partying.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily, though, then procrastination. It's more, you've set a standard of living that you're achieving. Therefore, do you need to push more? And at times, maybe that's why you've slowed down, because it's like, well, I'm already achieving. And obviously, there would have been the successful part where you're making tons. I remember, you and Rick Hope making absolute fortunes at one point.
Yeah,
and like, you did go a bit wild and crazy at that time. But then, obviously, you start to become humble again and all of that sort of experience. I think that's where it differs is, you're almost, you're already achieving what you need to achieve. How much more do you need, right?
Yeah, but you was on about from a business. If you went back for a bit, like
Yeah,
if I went back and told myself a while back, it'll be like, don't miss the gym. Like,
yeah,
no matter how busy you are at work, put health before wealth,
yeah.
right? And don't miss. Like, stop making excuses. You're just making excuses, James. James, no, you're making excuses. It doesn't matter. That call can wait. No, James, go to the gym. No, and like, I would have needed to keep telling myself, like, you're just making excuses not to go. Like, yeah, sometimes going to the gym, especially when it's leg day, like any excuse. Wednesday, leg day. Oh, I can't. Oh, yeah, I can do a podcast on a Wednesday, no problem.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's easy to miss them days. Oh, chest. Oh, I'll go and do chest, no problem. Yeah, but like what you get and the dopamine and thing you get out of when you come out of the gym or works out. It might be a walk, it could be a run, it could be whatever it is. But that exercise, you need your health. Health comes first. So from when you was asking, I thought it was about just from business, which is go harder, go
Yeah,
faster. In life, I'd say look after yourself more, like and invest in yourself more as well. Like sometimes I tend to spend a lot of time investing in other people or businesses and stuff like that. Sometimes I probably should have bought some courses earlier for me to progress my own education or paid for a mentorship. And back then I'd go, £1,000 for an hour call. And now I'm like, I pay £5,000 for an hour's
yeah,
call to a good mentor. And I'm
yeah,
like, that's the best investment I can do. Because that hour is going to help me elevate and it might save me years and years on information of what you can do. So back then I used to obsess over money too much and not really invest in me enough. So I'd say there's different answers for whether it's health, wealth, business, or entrepreneurship.
yeah. And I would say, like, I think everyone kind of probably falls in that boat of, they struggle to invest the money in themselves or time in themselves, but they're happy to go out on a weekend and blow 500 quid on a night out,
Yeah,
but they're not willing to spend, maybe it's a few £100 to help develop themselves further, or even, a 20, 30, £40 membership at a gym and go every day.
yeah,
It's crazy. All right. Well, this summarizes the whole of the podcast stroke interview. Obviously, this was with well, I wouldn't say exclusive. He's bloody all over the shop, but it was a sort of exclusive between us two. James Dooley, complete entrepreneur, and this is the entrepreneurship sort of playlist that will be going ahead on the Searcharoo, Fat Rank, and my own podcast.
it's been a pleasure, Carl. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Dooley.